Hi, and welcome to the lesson on solving right triangles. The objective of this lesson is to solve trig equations and also recognize trig functions based upon the diagram. Let's look at this first equation. We have sine of 23 degrees is equal to x divided by 15. We want to get x by itself. So the first step you need to do is multiply both sides by 15. And what this will do is cancel 15 on the right side, and then you'll have 15 on the other side. So I'm going to take a second, cancel my 15s. And so you should get 15 sine 23 degrees equals x. Okay, once you get x by itself, all you need to do is put this in your calculator. Make sure your calculator is in degrees or you will not get the right answer. So when I put this in my calculator, I get the answer to be x equals 5.9. Let's go over this example. So like the other example, we need to start off by getting x by itself. So I'm going to multiply 38 on both sides of my equation to cancel 38 in my denominator. Okay, so when we do that, 38's cancel on the right, and when you should get 38 tangent of 47 degrees equals x. From here, I am going to put 38 tangent of 47 degrees in my calculator, and you should get the answer of x equals 40.8 when rounded to the nearest tenth. Now, if you're not getting this answer, when you put this in the calculator, make sure your calculator is in degrees. Okay, let's look at this example. In this example, we have sine of 23 degrees equals 15 over x. But if you notice, x is in the denominator. So I'm going to start off by multiplying x on both sides to get it out of the denominator. And when we do that, our x's cancel on the right side, and you should get x times sine 23 degrees equals 15. But x is still not by itself. So what you'll need to do is this time you'll divide by sine of 23 degrees on both sides of your equation. So when I do that on the left, they cancel, and then I have to do it to the other side of the equation as well. And so you get x equals 15 over sine 23 degrees. On your calculator, you would type it as 15 divided by sine 23. Okay, put that in your calculator and you should get x equals 38.4 when rounded to the nearest tenth. Pause this video so you can try this on your own, then resume when you're ready to see the answer. Okay, let's go over the answer. So first, we are going to multiply both sides of the equation by x to cancel x on the right side and to get it out of the denominator. So you should get x times tangent 47 degrees equals 38, but x is not by itself, so you'll need to divide by tangent of 47 on both sides of the equation. Okay, and then after we've done this, the tangent of 47 should cancel, and you get x equals 38 over tangent 47. X is by itself, so you now can put this in the calculator, and you should get x equals 35.4 degrees when rounded to the nearest tenth. Now, if you're not getting this as your answer, you're probably in the wrong mode. You need to make sure you're in degrees. If you don't know how to get to degrees, make sure you ask me. Okay, pause the video and see if you can solve both of these on your own, and then when you resume, we'll go over the answer. Okay, let's go over the answer. So on the first one, you would need to multiply both sides by 10, and after you've did that, you would get 10 cosine of 42 equals x. Plug that in your calculator, and you get x equals 7.4. Okay, on the other side, with tangent 13 degrees is equal to 28 over x, we have x in the denominator. So first, you would need to multiply both sides by x, and you would get x times tangent of 13 equals 28. Divide by tangent of 13, and you get x equals 28 over tangent of 13. Put that in your calculator, and you should get 121.3. Let's talk about the steps to solve right triangles. The first step is to determine what trig function is represented. So the following problems will give you a triangle and the measures of one side. And then you're trying to figure out the measure of one of the other sides. So you need to determine which trig function is represented on the triangle. So you're going to use SOHCAHTOA to help you figure that out. Remember, SO stands for sine opposite over hypotenuse. CA stands for cosine adjacent over hypotenuse. And TOA stands for tangent opposite over adjacent. Then, after you figure out which function is represented, write that trig equation. Then solve for the desired side. Okay, let's look at this triangle. We have 35 degrees in the corner. We have one side labeled as x and one side labeled as 15. First, determine which side you have. So we know that 15 is our hypotenuse because it's opposite from our right angle and is our longest side. Okay, the side opposite from 35 degrees would be over here, but we have nothing labeled there. So x must be on the adjacent. So the two sides we have labeled are x and 15, and they are on adjacent and hypotenuse. Okay, if we look at our SOHCAHTOA, cosine is the only one that uses both adjacent and hypotenuse. So I'm going to set it up as cosine of 35 degrees is equal to x, because it's my adjacent, over 15, because that's my hypotenuse. Okay, then we're going to solve it like we did before. So multiply by 15, and you get 15 cosine 35 degrees equals x. Plug that in your calculator, and you get x equals 12.3. All right, our first step on this problem is to determine which ratio we're going to use. Take a moment and determine for yourself which ratio we need to use, whether it's sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, have you determined it yet? Well, the first step, let's label our sides. So 32, it's facing our right angle, so it has to be our hypotenuse. And then 40 is opposite from side x, so that side needs to be our opposite. So the remaining side is our adjacent. But what we have labeled, the two sides we have are opposite and hypotenuse. The only ratio that uses that, take a second, is sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So you should set it up as sine 40, x on top because it's your opposite, and 32 in the denominator because it's your hypotenuse. Okay, then multiply both sides by 32, and you get 32 sine of 40 equals x, or 20.6 equals x. Okay, why don't you try this example on your own? Pause the video and then resume it when you're ready. Okay, let's go over this example. So we have 10 degrees here in the corner. This side right here would be your hypotenuse. And then 12 would be your opposite side because it's opposite from 10 degrees. And x would be your adjacent side. So the two sides that we have given to us is our adjacent and opposite. The only ratio that uses opposite and adjacent is tangent. And you're going to set it up as tangent of 10 degrees. We're putting our opposite on top, so 12 over our adjacent x. Then you would multiply both sides by x, and you get x tangent of 10 degrees equals 12, or x equals 12 over tangent of 10 degrees. Put that in your calculator, and you should get 68.1. All right, that is our lesson. If you have any questions, make sure to contact your teacher. Thank you.